Welcome to Tuesday. It's the 28th of September, 2021. Well, folks, we've got one more warm day, then fall weather, as a Pacific cold front is going to be coming in. This front has already moved through Washington and Oregon, is moving through Idaho early today, going to be moving into western Wyoming and other parts of the Rockies this afternoon and tonight. At the same time, we've got an upper low in Arizona, New Mexico, lifting north towards Colorado. Those two will basically kind of come together and merge. This means cooler temperatures for the rest of the week and the weekend. Very fallish, nothing dramatic, just a lot more like fall and a lot less like summer. We are going to see some showers. There's going to be really good rain for Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, parts of Nebraska. There could be some really good rain for you folks in those areas. Lesser amounts in Utah and Wyoming and western Nebraska, but some showers for those areas as well. We're also going to see some high mountain snow. This is not a terribly cold system, so mountain snow is going to be up high, but it's certainly going to be there, and there even could be mountain snow in northern New Mexico. Natural gas. Why am I going to talk about natural gas? Well, I'll tell you why. This morning, early this morning, natural gas at one point was over $6.40, and this is something I think is going to play in and be a factor this upcoming winter. We'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. Have some more great photos to show you the fall colors. This is from Scott and Casper up in the Sierra Madres. Wow, I don't know how you could frame that better with the blue sky and the changing colors. That's also up in the Sierra Madres. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous fall colors. And I think we're going to have a good weekend again coming on up. After this weekend, the fall colors are really going to fade. Now, this is a first. I think this is the first fall color photograph we have gotten. I'm pretty sure this came from a helicopter. Thanks, Luke, for this shot of the aspens from the air. Isn't that fun? And here's some shots from Vidavoo between Laramie and Cheyenne. Just spectacular fall colors here this past weekend. Taking a look at today's satellite photo, you can easily see the two weather makers. This upper low coming up out of Arizona and New Mexico at center just here east of the Four Corners. The counterclockwise spin, you can see it in the curl of the clouds really well. Then we have this cold front that is marching right through this area right here. Good rain over the last 48 hours in this area here, and there's going to be some showers and thunderstorms with the front. So this gets kicked up north because of this coming in like this, and those two are going to merge, and that's going to lead to the colder weather. And you can see it. By noon today, the low is kicking northeast south of Denver, and here's the Pacific cold front knocking on the door of Jackson and Yellowstone Park here by late afternoon and evening. Now, by Saturday, what we're seeing here is the jet stream dipping a little bit further south. No real strong area of high pressure. Northwest winds aloft coming on in, and basically this is going to cause a cool, somewhat unstable atmosphere. This little guy right here is going to pump a little bit more in the way of Pacific moisture towards the Rockies and the high plains as well. And this is the end result. Now, this is only through Friday, but you can see we've got some areas of really good rain. Rain and thunderstorms in this area right here ahead of the upper level low. This upper level low is going to produce some really good rain in the mountains of Colorado, the Four Corners area, eastern Arizona, New Mexico. They need more rain here. They're going to get some really nice late September rain. And, that doesn't happen very often. So good for them. And then you can see up here in the Pacific Northwest with that cold front. Notice, though, the cold front kind of peters out, and we still have this area where it's going to be dry. But other areas along and east of the divide, there's going to be some pretty good moisture. When it comes to the moisture, that's good news. We did have a new fire break out near Silverthorne, Colorado, late yesterday, a ptarmigan fire. Now, with this pattern change coming in like this, hopefully that'll put this fire out, or certainly give the firefighters an upper hand. And this type of pattern right here, you love to see it this time of year to really help reduce the late season fire danger. Here's what the snow looks like. This is through Friday afternoon. So you can see even down into southwest Colorado, the higher mountains of northern New Mexico, a little bit of snow is going to fall. Most of the snow is going to be probably 10,000 feet and above, maybe down to 9,000 feet. Now, going out further, this is for Sunday night and Monday. Notice there's no big area of high pressure. There's weak high pressure, but it's not real warm. So what we're going to have is a pretty typical late September, early October temperature pattern. Certainly not as warm as it's been. And then we'll be watching this system coming in later on. Now, I want to talk a little bit about solar and the long-range forecast, because this will go into the discussion of natural gas prices. Now, there's something that I will talk about in later podcasts when it comes to the solar activity and these large-scale climate features that drive our climate. The oceans and the sun drive our climate. And one thing that we do see is something called the QBO. Now, this is a mouthful. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining it, but it's called the Quasi-Biennial Oscillation. And this is basically a change in wind directions near the equator, and where it really can shift around a lot of mass and a lot of energy and change the course of a season. Now, what we are going to have is an easterly QBO, and those happen during or just after solar minimums, which we have seen. Now, when we go back and we look at years where there's an easterly QBO and a La Nina, like we have now, you see this minus? This means that the tendency during an easterly QBO and a La Nina is for basically an area of low pressure over the northern plains during the course of the winter, high pressure up in the Gulf of Alaska, which means the jet stream will want to do this. And this happened a couple of times last winter, which opens the door to Canada. So based on La Nina and solar connections, there is a possibility that if these two come together, we might have a temperature map for December, January, and February that looks like this. The blue basically represents below average temperatures for the 3-month period, December through February. The green represents above normal temperatures. Now, this is an analog forecast. This is looking at years where this happened before. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, but this is the analog technique, and it shows that we could have a large part of North America, the United States and Canada, have a really cold December, January, or February. It's on the table. So when you take a look at the current state of natural gas prices, we have reached the highest level of natural gas prices since late 2018, and actually by pretty far, with it spiking over $6 earlier today. I bring this up because this is probably going to play a role with all the supply chain problems, with all the delays, with the pandemic and everything else going on. Natural gas prices this winter could be a story, and that's something we're going to watch as we go forward. Have yourself a great Tuesday, everybody. We will talk to you on Wednesday.